Vindicated at last. Mega £17 billion deal looms, as fishermen celebrate new record. Ministers are working towards a new post-Brexit deal with Canada that could supercharge Britain's £17 billion relationship with its Commonwealth ally. The news was announced by International Trade Minister Ranil Rayawardena on Twitter. He wrote, "Great to speak to business leaders from across Canada on the opportunities a new trade deal with Britain will bring for businesses on both sides of the Atlantic." Together we can supercharge our trade and investment relationship worth £17 billion plus. In more positive Brexit news, Scottish salmon farmers exported more fresh fish to the EU than ever before in the first quarter of 2021. This was despite critics claiming Brexit would weaken the European market for British fishermen. According to the Scottish Salmon Producers Organisation (SSPO), 19,410 tonnes of Scottish salmon were exported to the EU in the first 3 months of 2021, a 74% increase on last year. Separately, Boris Johnson warned the European Union against issuing threats to the UK amid an ongoing row over fishing rights could put a lucrative and vital deal on financial services in danger. France has ramped up Brexit tensions by warning it will block an EU financial services deal with the UK unless the Prime Minister grants the bloc more access to British waters. Emmanuel Macron's government has lashed out at Britain and accused it of deliberately failing to issue licenses to French fisheries. But Downing Street has furiously hit back at the threats, as post-Brexit tensions between the sides again edge nearer to exploding. Mr. Johnson's official spokesman warned, "We're taking a consistent, evidence-based approach to licensing EU vessels using information supplied by the European Commission." This is another example of the EU issuing threats at any sign of difficulties instead of using the mechanisms of our new treaty to solve problems. We have always been clear that an agreement on financial services is in the best interest of both sides. Britain's lucrative financial services sector was largely cut off from the EU following the end of the agreed transition period with the EU, which came to an end late on December 31. The UK and EU agreed a Memorandum of Understanding (MoU) in March that set out the terms for future financial services interaction between the two sides. However, the MoU must be signed by all remaining 27 remaining EU member states before it can be implemented, a process that is yet to get underway. Last month, France warned it would withhold authorization for the financial sector if Britain did not respect post-Brexit agreements on fishing. The European Commission has rejected the UK's application to join the Lugano Convention, and it advised EU member states to do the same. But what sounds like complex legal jargon could actually have a major impact on the lives of millions of British citizens. Britain left the Lugano Convention when it left the EU, and applied to rejoin the convention almost immediately. While the European Commission's advice to reject the UK's application deals a blow to lobbyists and the legal industry, it's not the end of the road. The Lugano Convention was established in 2007 and is an international treaty negotiated by the EU. The convention covers all EU member states, formally including the UK, as well as Iceland, Norway and Switzerland, three of the European Free Trade Association, EFTA, states. Denmark is covered in its own right as it has an opt-out. The purpose of the convention is to provide legal clarity and safeguarding across borders. The EU's position will ultimately be decided by the bloc's national governments, and the issue is still under review. A farmer has warned Nicola Sturgeon a huge amount of resource would be wasted on an independent Scotland. Farmer Tom Fairfax explained that it would be difficult for Scotland to sort out its rules if it was to become independent. Speaking to journalist Annette Dittit, Mr. Fairfax said, "We don't know what the rules would be. Think of how difficult it was for them to sort out the Brexit rules, and there were already borders in place with the freedoms we've enjoyed for a number of years." 3 a.m. update, European Commission admits in own report Britain will recover from COVID quicker than bloc. The EU has admitted that Britain is set to recover from the COVID pandemic much faster than itself, and praised its former member states' roaring success on vaccines. In its latest economic forecast, the European Commission said the UK is on track for a GDP increase of 5% this year and 5.3% in 2022. This was more promising than the recovery figures predicted for the 27-member bloc. The Commission forecast the average GDP rise across the EU to be Edwin Poots has been elected as the new Democratic Unionist Party (DUP) leader, replacing Arlene Foster. The Northern Ireland Agriculture Minister is the first elected leader of the DUP in its history. In a possible headache for Boris Johnson, he has threatened legal action over the controversial Northern Ireland Protocol. This created some customs checks between Northern Ireland and the rest of the UK, infuriating unionists. Mr. Poots won by 19 votes against 17 for DUP MP Sir Geoffrey Donaldson, his closest rival. Paula Bradley, Stormont Assembly member, was elected as deputy, replacing Lord Dodds, who did not defend the position. Only DUP MPs and Northern Irish Assembly members were able to vote, not the membership as a whole. Coogan's popular fictional character, Alan Partridge, has hit screens again with his new series, this time with Alan Partridge. This time, we see Partridge as having made it to the big time, working as the co-host of a popular television program similar to Good Morning Britain and The One Show. To the disbelief of many, Coogan's creation has managed to remain relevant and a fixture of British television and radio for 3 decades. Boris Johnson's handling of the pandemic could be compared to the response of EU nations as part of the coronavirus public inquiry due to take place next spring. In what would be an unprecedented move, legal experts believe the judge-led investigation could compare how Britain fared over the course of the international crisis compared to other countries. The move would give the first real insight into whether the UK responded better or worse to the virus than other places across the globe. The government has been praised for its rapid rollout of vaccines since December but has faced criticism over its high death toll. Britain has 127,651 coronavirus deaths, the 5th highest number in the world, and the largest in Europe. However, questions have been raised about how the UK's 4 nations are recording coronavirus deaths, with some believing the UK is being stricter in its tally than other countries. Alex Shipman takes over from James Bickerton. Emmanuel Macron is desperate to cling to power as he gears up for next year's bruising re-election battle, and will not think twice about trampling on the UK to do so, a Brexiteer has warned. And even if Mr. Macron eventually loses out to former EU chief Brexit negotiator Michel Barnier, Jay Nadia warned Britain could expect no favours from him either. Muzadia, who is the director of grassroots pro-Brexit campaign Get Britain Out, was speaking after France's threat to cut off power supplies to Jersey last week as the row over fishing access to the island threatened to boil over. A Brexiteer has lashed out at Germany after companies in Angela Merkel's state have been forced to seek other markets as a result of red tape following Britain's departure from the EU. Prime Minister Boris Johnson signed a trade deal with the EU back in December and was based on zero tariffs on most goods. However, trade between the two has been disrupted by higher shipping costs, transportation delays, as well as stricter customs requirements at the border. Brexit Britain is on the verge of a victory as Prime Minister Boris Johnson has been handed an easy solution to keep an industry expected to be worth £400 billion in the UK. This year's Queen's speech laid out the government's vision for the UK after the pandemic, with science and healthcare placed at the heart of the UK's economic recovery. In his statement in the House of Commons, Mr. Johnson highlighted his intention to build on the extraordinary work of UK scientists during COVID-19 and announced plans for a new Advanced Research and Inventions Agency, ARIA. ARIA will establish a UK agency to search for groundbreaking scientific discoveries and will fund high-risk, high-reward research and development in the UK. Boris Johnson has been warned the EU would be quick to welcome an independent Scotland as a means of getting one over on the UK and was urged to put up a hard fight in the Supreme Court to thwart any referendum. Nicola Sturgeon is determined to push ahead with a public vote on membership of the UK despite failing to secure a parliamentary majority in last week's elections. The First Minister has argued there is a mandate for another independence referendum because when Scots rejected independence in 2014, Brexit was not on the table.